All right. Hey, everybody. Dan here, stockmarketmentor.com. And I want to talk about Dave today. Now, here's the thing. So we look at this stock like so many breakouts. Um, this one kind of failed. I was looking at some of these stocks, similar stocks. These are some that Scott McGregor, my partner in crime at Stock Market Mentor, and I were looking at the other day. Scott said, "Hey man, check out all these ARK things," and similar with the IBD 50. Same thing. We got some key breakouts, pretty good volume, but they've failed recently. Like basically all of them have. If we look at the SPY, I think from what I understand, but I could be wrong because I'm wrong a lot. I'm a professional at being wrong, and I can do that by just not being too wrong. But I guess there's some kind of thing coming out of China where it's like, hey, man, you like the last COVID? Well, we got a brand new one for you from the Bat Lady. So maybe there's some of that going on, but maybe this is just time for the S&P, time for the broader market to kind of take a little rest here. So I look at this stuff, and this is the damn TGIF pattern. Like, thank God it's Friday. You just never know where this would go. So at least we'll have the weekend to sort things out. Notice the very, very high volume here. Same thing on the S&P. So this is super high volume on these declines. So that gets me back to Dave. Pretty high volume here too. The difference is this thing has been in a basing pattern. It had been in this basing pattern, kind of a high base for just about 3 months after breaking out of another one. So you could really look at this as I think it's really a stretch to say, oh, this is a cup and handle. I don't see that. I see kind of a long base here. I guess you could say it's a cup. I would call it a bowl, kind of the kind of bowl that I use to cook my my oatmeal in the morning. But then finally, we get a breakout here. So this was a really, really long base, and then we get a breakout. Pretty high volume, but not as high as on this day when the stock peaked. Okay, fine. That was then, this is now. So after this big move higher, note what has been happening to the stock. Yes, it's been drifting sideways, but generally speaking, after this, it's been on lower than average volume. And then we get this big day here. What was this? A gap down and then stabilizing on low volume. So we've got a lot of low volume pullbacks to test this support and then grinding right back up in super, super light volume. What that indicates, guys, is a lack of institutional selling. This is just a bunch of weak hands taking profits. And then, so we finally get a move higher here. And then on the following day, right here, we get a really high volume move, like twice average volume, right? I'm just kind of walking you through this. And then the stock rotates up a little bit more. And then finally, like so many of these breakouts, falls back. So what I like about this is it's been in a fairly orderly base here. I mean, this has been kind of tradable. It's kind of a squeeze. And so my suggestion is this. I mean, I'm on the sidelines for a lot of stuff, and I don't own Dave right now, but I'm watching it. And I'm watching it because it's very close to the 50-day moving average. And when a stock is starting to get close to the 50-day moving average and the overall market is weak, it's silly to say, oh, well, it's going to break below the 50-day moving average. No, that's kind of a silly thing, especially if it's held the 50 in the past. So this is what I would suggest doing. It's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be watching this. And what I want to know is if the stock pulls back a little bit more to test the 50, and it doesn't have to be perfect, if it just kind of pulls back and settles in here a bit, just kind of settles around here, it continues to form this base. You could even call it kind of a Darvas box. Like this would be This would be one box. And then when the stock breaks out, which it did, then we could say, all right, this is the next box. So what we're looking for is whether this box here will hold or whether the stock ultimately breaks down, and that's the end of the trend. So I'm not pounding the table here and saying buy Dave. It does have some pretty smoking fundamentals, and the relative strength, the RS rating on IBD is 99. So irrespective of this, I mean, this goes back over a few months, however they calculate it. It's not like today, but it's been outperforming 99% of all stocks. So there's a lot of good things to like here. Fundamentals are really strong. Their margins are off the charts. They've got triple digit earnings growth. Their revenue growth is really, really solid too. So fundamentally, there's a lot to like about this. Technically, I see this as a stock that really, truly has some potential for big moves higher. Just wait for it. It's a weak market. You're not going to miss anything. This is not a great buying opportunity. It's just some weakness in the market that just needs to sort itself out. So give our buddy Dave a little chance to sort himself out here and watch for a move off of the 50 where you can be setting a stop, like wherever you're buying. If you're buying close to the 50, then you just set a stop kind of like just below that, wherever you're buying. So that way it's a low risk trade. You always want to be thinking risk. How much am I risking on this trade? The first question is then where do I put my stop? You know where you're buying. And so where's my stop? Once you know where your stop is, okay, subtract the stop from your entry price and you know what your risk per share is, then just decide how much money you're willing to lose in order to make the trade. That's all I got for you today. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you Monday. And by the way, I had an hour-and-a-half training session today. It was a special deal. Got a lot of positive reviews on it. If you are not a member of Stock Market Mentor, if you haven't tried it before, I'm inviting you to do so now. $7 for 14 days. If you can't afford $7, probably shouldn't be trading. Okay, that's all I got. You guys have a great weekend.